Let me ask you something personal. When did things start feeling different? Maybe it wasn't one single morning you can point to. Maybe it was gradual, so slow you barely noticed. A little less energy here, a slower response there, a confidence that used to come automatically, now requiring effort just to fake. And if you're like most men I've spoken with, you eventually landed on the same conclusion. This is just what getting older looks like. This is my new normal. I need you to stay with me for the next few minutes, because that conclusion, it's not just wrong, it's costing you years of your life that you could be living completely differently. I'm going to show you a specific location on your body, one that most doctors don't discuss, most men have never been told about, and one that, when given the right attention, can genuinely shift how you feel, how you perform, and how you show up every single day. We're also going to talk about 4 daily habits that are quietly working against you, possibly right now, and the simple adjustments that can change your trajectory inside of 2 weeks. Stay until the end, because the timing piece alone, which I'll cover in the second half, is what separates the men who try this and feel nothing from the men who come back and say it changed everything. If this is your first time here, welcome. Hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. Section 2. Why testosterone is not the real story. When something changes, when the drive quiets down, when the physical response becomes unpredictable, when that effortless confidence starts requiring effort, the first place most men look is their hormones. And honestly, that makes sense. That's what the internet says. That's what most health conversations are built around. Testosterone is the culprit. The levels dropped. The story is over. But here's what more than 20 years of working in men's health has shown me. Testosterone is only part of the picture, and for a large number of men, it's not even the main chapter. Yes, testosterone levels do shift as we age. After 40, most men experience a gradual annual decline. By the time you're in your mid-50s, that accumulates into a meaningful change. That's real and it matters. But here's what rarely gets discussed. Testosterone is not what drives your physical response. 2 other systems do, and both of them can deteriorate completely independently of your hormone levels. Those 2 systems are circulation and nerve signaling. Let me walk you through how this actually works inside your body. When your body prepares to respond physically, it follows a very precise chain of events. A signal originates in the brain, travels through a nerve pathway in your pelvis, reaches specific smooth muscle tissue, and triggers the release of a molecule called nitric oxide. That molecule tells the walls of your blood vessels to relax and expand. Blood rushes in. The response happens. Every link in that chain has to function correctly, and in men over 50, there are 2 points where that chain typically starts to quietly break down. The first is circulatory restriction. The arteries supplying the pelvic region, particularly one called the internal pudendal artery, gradually narrow over decades. You won't feel this happening. There's no alarm, no warning sign, but the tissue that depends on that blood supply slowly loses its elasticity. It becomes less reactive, not because of hormone levels, because of oxygen supply, because the plumbing has been narrowing while life kept moving forward. The second is nerve compression. This one gets almost no attention, and that frustrates me deeply. A nerve called the pudendal nerve travels through a narrow corridor in your pelvic floor. When that passageway is chronically compressed, from years of sitting, from tension that has built up gradually, from postural patterns accumulated over decades, the nerve signal weakens. Not dramatically, just enough to slow the response, just enough to introduce doubt where there used to be certainty. And here's what makes it worse. Most men treat the symptoms while the underlying cause goes completely unaddressed. A supplement here, a prescription there, maybe it helps a little, maybe not. But nobody ever looks at the actual structural issue. Nobody examines the nerve. Nobody asks about blood flow at the source. The cause, in more cases than you'd expect, is something entirely physical, something that the right kind of attention can genuinely shift. No surgery, no medication, something you can do at home in under 2 minutes. Long pause. Section 3. The spot most doctors never mention. Now that you understand why this happens, let me tell you where the solution starts. There's a region of the male body called the perineum. It sits between the base of the scrotum and the tailbone, a small area, roughly 2 to 3 inches across. Most men have never given it a second thought, and that is precisely the problem. Because beneath that surface lies what I'd describe as one of the most important intersections in the male body. The pudendal nerve passes directly through this zone. The deep branches of the internal pudendal artery run through it, and the pelvic floor muscles, a group that most men are entirely unaware of until something goes wrong, anchor here. When all three of those systems are working well together, physical response is reliable, strong, and natural. When any one of them is restricted, compressed, or understimulated, the entire chain weakens. Now, let me explain why deliberately applying pressure to this area produces real, measurable change, because this isn't folklore. The mechanism is physiologically grounded. Your body is filled with specialized nerve endings called mechanoreceptors, sensors embedded in tissue that respond to physical pressure. When you apply firm, sustained pressure to a region dense with these receptors, 3 things happen simultaneously. First, the local blood vessels dilate. The mechanical stimulation sends a direct signal that relaxes the smooth muscle lining the nearby arteries. Blood flow into the region increases. This is the same vasodilation that's supposed to happen during physical arousal, and you're essentially priming that pathway. Second, the nerve itself is activated. There is a critical difference between activating a nerve and irritating one. Gentle, consistent pressure applied along a nerve pathway increases its conductivity over time. Think of it as clearing interference from a signal. The message travels more completely, more cleanly, more quickly. Third, the surrounding muscle tissue begins to release tension. This is the part that surprises people the most. One of the most underdiagnosed contributors to reduced vitality in men over 50 is something called hypertonic pelvic floor, a clinical term for muscles that are chronically overcontracted, not weak, rigid. And a rigid pelvic floor compresses both the nerve and the artery running through it, every single day, around the clock. So when I recommend this technique to patients, I'm not offering a home remedy. I'm describing a single intervention that simultaneously addresses restricted circulation, reduced nerve conductivity, and muscular tension, all 3, in 60 seconds. Section 4. How to do this correctly. Here's where most men go wrong. They understand what to do, but not how to do it, and the details here are what separate a technique that works from one that produces almost nothing. Body position matters significantly. The most effective position is lying on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on the surface, the same posture you might hold during a basic stretch. This naturally reduces tension in the pelvic floor, placing those muscles in their most relaxed state. It allows your fingers to reach the perineum at the correct angle and depth without creating compensatory tension elsewhere. If lying down isn't convenient, sitting on the edge of a firm surface and leaning slightly forward also works. What does not work is any position where your glutes and pelvic muscles are actively engaged, standing, lying flat with straight legs, or sitting rigidly upright. In those positions, you're pressing against contracted tissue. The technique loses most of its effectiveness. Now, let's talk about pressure depth. You're aiming for what I call moderate firm pressure. You should feel meaningful, purposeful contact, but no sharp pain, no radiating discomfort. If it hurts, ease back. If you feel almost nothing, you haven't reached the layer you need. You're looking for that middle ground where you can feel the tissue respond, a slight softening, a spreading warmth building gradually beneath your fingers. I break this into 3 distinct phases, and I want to walk you through each one. The first 20 seconds, contact and settling. Apply pressure, locate the spot, and simply hold. No movement yet. Let the tissue register the contact. This is where those mechanoreceptors begin activating. Your nervous system is taking note. The blood vessels are starting to respond to the signal. The second 20 seconds, slow, small circular movement. Introduce very gentle circular motion, small circles, no wider than a coin. The goal here is not friction. You're slowly mobilizing the surrounding connective tissue around the nerve and artery. Think of it as gently separating 2 pieces of tape that have been stuck together. You're not tearing anything, you're creating space. This is where arterial dilation begins to accelerate. The third 20 seconds, return to stillness with intentional breathing. Stop the movement, hold firm pressure. And this is important. Take slow, full exhalations. Breathe out completely and hold for 3 to 5 seconds before inhaling again. This breathing pattern activates the parasympathetic branch of your nervous system, the branch responsible for arousal response. You're combining a physical stimulus with a nervous system signal at the exact same moment. The two reinforce each other. Now, timing. This is where most men make the critical mistake, and it is a straightforward fix. Morning is significantly more effective than evening for this technique. Specifically, within the first hour after waking, your body's testosterone is at its daily natural peak. Your parasympathetic nervous system is transitioning out of sleep state recovery, and your pelvic floor muscles, after hours of rest with no compression, are at their most relaxed baseline. Doing this late in the evening, when a full day of sitting has built up cumulative muscular tension, reduces effectiveness considerably. As for frequency, aim for 3 to 4 times per week at minimum, daily if possible. One session accomplishes very little. It's the repeated activation, the cumulative signal sent to those mechanoreceptors, the repeated dilation of those vessels that creates lasting change in tissue responsiveness. Section 5. What to expect and when. In the first 3 days, don't look for dramatic results. What you'll likely notice first is a gentle warmth in the region that lingers for an hour or so after each session. That warmth is circulation waking up. That is a positive sign. By the end of the first week, many men begin noticing a stronger morning response, which tells me the nerve pathway is starting to clear. By the end of the second week, the physical response during intimacy typically becomes more consistent, more grounded, more familiar, closer to what they once knew. But here's the part I have to tell you straight. There are 4 daily patterns that can undo this progress faster than the technique can build it. And if you ignore them, you'll be working against yourself. Section 6. The 4 daily patterns working against you. Pattern 1. Prolonged sitting. This is the most damaging of the 4 and the most overlooked. The average man over 55 sits between 8 and 12 hours a day, driving, working, watching television, eating. Every hour seated places continuous, direct compression on the perineal region, on the pudendal nerve canal. In clinical settings, we call the chronic version of this pudendal nerve entrapment, but in its mild, everyday form, it shows up silently. No numbness, no pain, just a gradual, progressive dulling of nerve signal across months and years, and then one day, you wonder why things have changed. This is frequently why. The correction is simple. Every 45 to 60 minutes of sitting, stand and move for 2 to 3 minutes. Shift the pressure off. Give the nerve the decompression intervals it needs throughout the day. Without these breaks, the massage technique has to work twice as hard to produce half the result. Pattern 2. Sleep position. Most men have a dominant sleep position they've held for decades, and a large number sleep either on their stomach or in a tightly curled position on their side. Stomach sleeping places direct compression on the pelvic floor and abdomen during the exact hours your body is supposed to be recovering and releasing tension. A curled fetal position keeps the hip flexors and pelvic floor in a shortened, contracted state, meaning you wake up with elevated baseline muscle tension in the very area you're trying to release. The optimal position for pelvic floor recovery is on your back with a pillow positioned under your knees. This keeps your lower spine neutral and the pelvic floor passively open. If back sleeping isn't comfortable yet, side sleeping with a pillow between your knees is the next best option. Pattern 3. 2 specific dietary habits. General nutrition advice isn't useful here, so let me be precise. The first is high sodium intake. Excess sodium causes the arterial walls to stiffen, a process called arterial rigidity, and it reduces the ability of smooth muscle tissue to respond to nitric oxide signals. The same chemical signal that triggers vasodilation during physical arousal is blunted by chronic high sodium. Most men consume far more than they realize through processed foods, restaurant meals, and packaged snacks. It accumulates quietly. The second is a diet low in dietary nitrates. Nitrates, found in foods like leafy greens, beets, and celery, are the raw material your body uses to manufacture nitric oxide. Without sufficient intake, your body's capacity to dilate blood vessels on demand is compromised at the molecular level. The massage technique relies on vasodilation. If your body lacks the building blocks to perform it, the response is muted. Pattern 4. Chronic elevated cortisol. This one operates at the hormonal level, and it's more common than most men realize. Cortisol and physical arousal are biologically opposed. When cortisol is chronically elevated, as it is in most men navigating sustained professional, financial, or relational pressure, the body remains in a low-grade, persistent stress state. In that state, the body suppresses functions it classifies as non-essential under threat. Reproductive response is near the top of that list. Blood is redirected, nerve signals are muted, the vascular response is dampened. Men in this pattern often describe the same experience. The desire is there mentally, but the body doesn't follow through. That gap between intention and response is frequently cortisol at work. Not aging, not hormones, not anything mysterious. The fix involves consistently activating the parasympathetic nervous system. Interestingly, the breathing component of the massage protocol is already designed to do exactly this, but you can reinforce it further with simple daily practices. A 10-minute walk after dinner, 5 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing before sleep, and reducing screen exposure in the final hour before bed, which has been shown to keep cortisol elevated well into the night. When you address all 4 of these alongside the daily protocol, the results accelerate noticeably. Men who make these adjustments together typically reach the 2-week milestone of meaningful improvement in 7 to 8 days instead. Section 7. Closing timers. When you pressed play on this video, you may have been carrying something private. Not a diagnosis, not a crisis, just a quiet frustration that something natural, something that used to belong to you without effort, had gradually, silently changed. And maybe you'd started writing a story around that. The story that says this is simply what time does, that there's no road back, that this is who you are now. I want you to hear this clearly. That story is not accurate. What you've been experiencing is not the unavoidable outcome of getting older. It is the consequence of a specific, physical, addressable pattern, one that most men carry for years without anyone ever identifying it or naming it. Restricted circulation, a compressed nerve, a chronically tense pelvic floor that nobody ever taught you to pay attention to. These are not mysteries, they are mechanisms, and mechanisms can be changed. Your body has not forgotten how to respond. It has been working around an obstacle, and when you consistently remove that obstacle, restore the blood flow, decompress the nerve, release the tension, and give your tissue the signal it's been waiting for, the response returns. Not as a trick, not as a temporary fix, as a genuine, physiological restoration of what was always there. Start tomorrow morning, give it 2 weeks, and come back and tell me what you notice. If this helped you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment below telling me where you're watching from. I read every one, and if you haven't subscribed yet, now is a great time. I'll see you in the next one.